Coach Teresa Ford here, and this is the Guiding You Home podcast. This is a thought-provoking and often humorous approach to moving you closer to the only one who can genuinely help you live a life of abundance and prosperity. Sound good? Yeah, it's you that needs to go within so you can sit in the driver's seat of your life, co-creating with God. So make room for more light and knowledge. As you continue to listen, you will discover elements of how to lead with your inner light, how to act on your specific promptings, and how to follow your spiritual intuition so you can fulfill the measure of your creation. Thanks for being here, and let's dive in. Unconditional love is the absence of judgment.
Yeah.
You just receive them as they are. You know, I've often thought maybe at some point in my life, I would enjoy going to prisons, people who are incarcerated, and seeing them, see someone see them for the first time.
I could definitely feel into that with you. I've had this feeling like I don't want prisons anymore. And that's a radical thing, I know.
Yeah.
But for me, the way I view life is, why do we judge somebody by one thing they did before and never give them the ability to learn the lesson to move forward from it?
Yeah, and see, that's a powerful statement coming from somebody who has experienced sexual abuse.
And I felt that way even then. Like, everyone else in my life was so angry because, you know, we got him a consequence. Like, he did go to jail. But he went for 5 years, and then he got out and he lived his life, and he got to be a part of life with his child. And I don't feel like, who am I to say, like, he made a mistake and then he needs to be punished for the rest of his life because of it? I don't agree with that. I don't agree that I'm the judgment of that, especially when I trust life and I trust the fact that that experience, I truly believe, saved me, because the way that I view it is, what happened is it was the safest, not safe thing that could have happened for me, because I wasn't hurt to an extent that I could have been.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, because of that experience, I got myself out of a situation that I wouldn't have walked away from, because I knew. I trusted my gut and was like, nope, this isn't safe. I need to walk away. I need to go. And called an adult, you know, while I was doing naughty things, you know, drunk at a party. Like, I need you to come get me because I'm not safe. And I wouldn't have done that had I not gone through that other experience 3 months prior. I'm like, if I can believe and trust in that, then I have to trust that whatever happens is meant to be. And the judgment is what makes it continue happening over and over and over again. Because someone, like addicts, how many people look at them as an addict for the rest of their life, and because they can't embody themselves, they just keep going back to it because, well, that's what everyone sees, so I might as well be it.
Yeah.
Like,
and they just give way to outside opinion instead of,
yeah.
you know, like, it takes a lot for an addict to say, I forgive myself.
Yeah.
But sometimes when they have somebody's eyes on them that says, but I forgive you. And
see,
you know, and that, like, that's a big deal, because it can actually unlock themselves to say the same.
I actually take it a little deeper, and I haven't talked about this a whole lot with many, so you'll be my first.
It's my favorite.
I don't believe in apologies.
Oof.
They don't feel good in my body because of what they provided in me, like what they caused. Apologies equaled shame, which is my core wound.
Yes.
Don't make me feel shame, because if I feel shame, then I would do anything you wanted, because that was my inner programming from childhood. They could
Yes.
get me to do anything as long as they made me feel guilty or shameful about it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Shame
at
was
the
your
end of
most
the
accessible emotion.
it was because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I just wanted people to love me and to see me
Yes.
and to feel good about
Yes.
me.
Yes.
And so that act of apologizing was a big part of like rewriting my story of I didn't need to apologize for making mistakes. My children do not need to apologize for making mistakes. What we need is acceptance that, guess what? I'm a human.
Mm-hmm.
What lesson did I learn? And then take accountability. It's not the apologizing of placing oneself on a pedestal of you did me wrong or I did you wrong, so I need to make amends to it. It's
Mm.
I'm a human and I did a thing. What
Yeah.
did I learn and what can I do moving forward that can make this energetic balance better?
Mm. Really good. I take it even to, I don't know if it's a lateral move, but I take it to self, because
Yes.
I think forgiveness is actually an act for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we do wrong and somebody shames us for it or makes us feel bad about living and learning, and we
Mm-hmm.
couldn't have done better until we knew better, right? And the
Exactly.
living and learning, we embed the shame and the guilt and the fear and the overwhelm and the all the things that we can't seem to overcome as a young child. We don't
Yep,
have the tools, right? It gets embedded in our body.
it does.
But if you can identify the emotion, shame, let's say, shame is my most accessible emotion. And my mom was very good at shaming me. And I think shame was her most accessible
Same.
emotion. And so, and her father
Yep.
was alcoholic. And so the shame
Yep.
is just like, let's have a party. We're just like,
Yep.
everybody's included. And so the shame that was embedded in my body, I have been doing the Ho'oponopono
Mm-hmm.
prayer, right? Thank you.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Let's say, thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I bookend it with thank you. I love you, because
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me is an apology for me holding on to emotional baggage that isn't mine,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It's how I let it go. It's like, I'm so sorry. I made little me carry shame down the road 60 years later,
Yeah.
carrying these heavy bags that weren't hers. You know, when we say we're going to set down our emotional bags, that's how you do it, is through forgiveness of the things you didn't know any better. And
Yep.
there's a time when I was like, you know what? I am going to end up being a parent to my mother, because she was a 3-year-old sucking on a potato. That's literally how she described herself from the Great Depression.
Yeah.
And we had a moment, and I thought, okay, I've got a 5-hour drive. I got 5 kids in the back. I'm doing this for the benefit of her building a relationship with her grandkids. But her habit was to shame me in front of them. She wanted
Mm.
them to know I wasn't a good mom, because she felt that way about herself.
Yep.
Right. And it was
Yep.
just starting to gel with me that I had an opportunity to behave differently. I had
Yeah.
an opportunity to change the narrative. And
Yeah.
so when we went there, I was like, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it will happen. That I'll have an opportunity to respond differently. Instead of throwing a dart back at her when she threw one at me, I was
Yeah.
going to be the person that I wanted to be as a mom and an example to my kids. And
Yeah.
so she said something to my oldest daughter about how old she was. And then she just took that opportunity to go, well, your mother didn't wait to date. And I looked at her and I'm telling you, God will guide your words. It'll just
Yeah.
come through you. You don't have to pre-plan anything. And I said, I didn't know any better, implying I didn't have a mother. There was no guidance. There was nothing. There was no information about
Yeah.
this would be a better choice than that, and use your free agency wisely. And
Yep.
there was nothing. Right. And then she
Right.
looked down at her own feet and she was like, yeah, I guess I didn't know better either. Because she was a 3-year-old trying to raise children. Like, how would she have known? Nobody had
Right.
ever taught her love or anything like that. And I feel like there was a release there. Like, I don't remember her ever trying to shame me in front of my kids again. I think she resolved that that wasn't going to be a thing because I was choosing to be the person that wasn't angry with her anymore, that
Yeah.
wasn't going to judge her for her lack of mothering, and not even take responsibility for what I didn't know,
Right.
other than I named it. And I was like, wow, that was good, because I didn't come up with it, right? It was given to me in that instant of wanting to say something, knowing that was my moment to
Yeah.
shift into my higher self. And I want to just bring this back to the forgiveness piece, which is when I let go of her needing to take responsibility, needing to say she was sorry, expecting her apology for how she treated me as a child.
Right.
I was able to also let go, like that moment of choosing my higher self. I was able to let go of the shame that I carried about never knowing better,
Yeah.
than I did. And so the thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, is a prayer. Like, if there's a pain in my body somewhere, I don't have an injury. Like, I didn't injure myself. There's a pain
Right.
that's like, hey, 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 there's something going on right here that's stuck. It's energy. And I
Yeah.
will actually put my hand on it. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I put that out into my aura, and I say the same thing to my whole self. Thank you. I
Right.
love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And then I
Right.
also wrap those words in, a visualization of a beautiful fabric, silk, and put it
Hmm.
on the altar to Christ and say, thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And the pain goes away. Like,
Right.
the forgiveness is healing. However,
Yeah.
anyone decides to use it for their improvement,
Right.
that forgiveness is part
See,
of unconditional love.
right. And see, and that's why it's always been hard for me to share because
Mm,
as soon as I speak on like how that moves in my body
yeah.
and it's what's always just felt right
Yeah.
inside my body, my inner knowing. It's not always well received, and that can
Mm,
feel not safe
yeah.
if you don't have that connection to self of knowing that you may not be well received. But as long as you are coming from a place of kindness and unconditional love for yourself and others, whatever shadows you bring up in someone else isn't your business or your
Right.
responsibility.
Right. That's theirs, and they can have it. They don't have to
Yeah.
change. Right?
Yeah.
It's you just being aware what you're seeing is always a projection and has nothing to do
Yes.
with you.
And that's why it's this piece for me. It's embracing the accountability piece of
Mhm. Mhm.
I am my own savior
Yeah.
because I am life force, or like I use life force and infinite spirit a lot, but it's
Mhm.
all the same
Mhm.
because we're all one.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, God, Buddha, whatever word you use, it's all the same to me because we all come from the same life force. And
Source of love.
what
Yes.
exactly, and what one
Yes.
person needs is completely right for them. If they need
Yeah.
to sit in a place of accept or apologizing, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But just like for me, apologizing has always felt vibrationally incorrect because I trust that we're all right where we're meant to be.
Yeah.
So there's no apologizing for life. It's more of an acceptance. And when I can accept myself fully, shadows and light and love and every piece of myself, then I can accept all of somebody else because I know that we're all one anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that because, we're awfully worried about how other people are going to receive us, or
Yeah,
how we make them feel, even though there's no such thing. You can't make somebody else feel in a negative
exactly.
way, because that's them allowing their personal power to not be in the room. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I also want to just add clarity to your, is it a disclaimer? You know, you don't believe in apologies, because I do believe that apologies are when you realize that somebody else received the raw end of your learning curve. You know,
Yeah.
I
It's the
have done that.
acknowledgement.
Yes, it's
Yep.
the acknowledgement. That's what the apology is. It's
Yes.
not apologizing for not knowing better. It's the
Yep.
apology for, I realize it impacted you in a
Mhm.
negative way, you know, and that acknowledgement of saying you're sorry it's not an apology for being a human. It's just an apology,
Right.
or it's an apology or a recognition for,
So,
there was no ill intent, but
right.
I had no idea the negative impact it would have.
And I do have words that I use for that. So, like with my
Mm,
kids, I started using it with them because they were doing the same thing I was doing, which was over apologizing for life.
yeah, wow.
Saying I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry for living,
Mm-hmm.
sorry for
Yeah,
being who I am.
yeah. And that's kind of a
So,
buzzword these days. People just like, sorry.
exactly. And
It
it's like
doesn't
it
hold
just,
a lot of meaning.
and that's why I think I threw it out because
Yeah,
I'm like, I
yeah,
don't need
yeah,
an apology. I don't want
yeah.
you to apologize to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
So with my kids, when they come to me and say, "Well, I'm sorry," I go, "I don't need your apology.
Mm,
I need the accountability." So
yeah.
I show them by when I don't show up as my highest self, when my shadows come to play, which this just happened the other morning. My youngest and I butted heads. We both were not in a very high vibrational state and we
Right,
were
right. I
playing ping
know.
pong.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
we were showing some shadows and I raised my voice and I haven't done that in
Mm,
a while. But
mm-hmm.
it used to be my norm because as soon as I would get overwhelmed, they were the easiest target. Not intentionally. It's just that's what happens. We play
Yeah,
ping pong with our emotions to release the tension.
right.
And so I did that. And so with her, I embody it and I say, listen, I acknowledge that I did not show up as my best self today.
Mm,
I'm sure that it didn't feel good to receive me yelling at you. And I just want you to know that I love you and I acknowledge that my shadow came to play and I'm going to do
yeah,
better next time. I'm going to try better next
yeah.
time. And I do the same thing with them. So when I just had my 8-year-old, she's going through changes, but emotionally, hormonally, like all the things are happening. And I remember what it was like to feel all that chaos within your body and to feel as deeply as you do and not understand how to control it. So she
Yes.
lashed out. She was following what I had taught her of, when you're feeling too much emotion and you feel like you want to hurt somebody, to walk away or just say, I don't
Yeah,
want to talk about it.
yeah.
And she did it, but the friend kept pushing anyways.
Mm,
And when the friend kept pushing, she then used her big words and was like, move away, get away from me. They didn't listen, and it resulted in her physically hurting this friend at school, which hasn't happened before. And it was such a powerful lesson because she comes home. She was like, I know it was wrong and I'm so mad at myself. I'm like, but no, 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 no. You don't need to be mad at yourself. Acknowledge that that was not the way you wanted to show up. And
yeah.
you know that. I can feel it in your body that you know that that's not how you want to show up. I said, so how do we make this better? How
Mm,
do we learn the lesson? Well, I need to
mm,
walk away, but they wouldn't listen to me. I said, you're right. I said, but if they won't listen, can you control them? No. Well, then you control you by walking away. I don't care
yeah,
if your teacher gets mad. I will support you. If you feel like you're going to hurt somebody, you walk away, even if it's to the principal's office, and
yeah,
I have your back. And I embody that with her. And the school even knows me. They know that I've got my kids' back,
yeah.
and I will come in and be like, this isn't right. So
Mm,
their answer to what they wanted for her was lunch detention, valid, completely fair, but they wanted to take away her ability to go outside and move her
mm,
body.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm going to be real with you. I get it. She needs a consequence. Absolutely eat lunch away from her friends. Don't let her play with her friends, but she needs to go outside. We live in
Mm.
Michigan where it's freezing and we don't have very many nice days. And you're in a stuffy building with all these energies. She's
Yeah.
got to get outside.
Mm.
So we compromised, and she had another teacher get to walk her on the track so she could still get her movement. And she acknowledged it, and now her and the friend are completely fine because that's what
Yeah.
kids show us, the embodiment of I don't necessarily need to apologize. I need to
Yeah.
accept that I'm human.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do to move forward and learn the lesson?
Mm-hmm.
And then see if that still fits with one another. And if that's not, like, if I choose not to be in your space anymore, that's okay. I
Yeah.
release you with love.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Mm-hmm.
do it so intuitively. And I
Yeah, they
just
do.
love it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I learned so much through you. And if we would just trust and stop trying to shame or guilt or judge you, which is where the apology came into play for me. So I'm
Yeah.
teaching them this new way of we don't apologize for being human, but we acknowledge what we did. We
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge someone else's pain
Mm-hmm.
and then accept that we did it, that our
Yeah.
shadow came to play.
Mm.
And then how can we unconditionally love each other to move forward in the best way for the two people?
Yeah. So did the two friends get to talk, your daughter and her friend? Did they
Oh
get to
yeah,
talk
there
it out?
so this happened on Friday.
Uh-huh.
And then Monday she comes home from school and she's like, "Oh yeah, we're friends again." So like they're completely fine. So like they got it out. They knew what they
Yeah.
needed. And
Kids
it's
don't hold
funny.
judgment like adults do.
They don't. They accept the humanity and I
Mm-hmm.
love it. But
Mm-hmm.
what happened, funny enough, trusting that everything always happens in its own divine time. I called the principal Friday.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up not even getting a punishment other than that walking the track. She didn't even have to go eat lunch with the principal. So I think she, she accepted that she figured it out. She wasn't sitting there acting like she didn't do anything wrong. She knew that she had
Mm.
messed up.
Yeah.
She didn't need any more guilt or shame for her to feel like she was a terrible human because she's not.
Yeah, I see this coming together collectively as a community. Like the
Yeah.
principal understood that the mother was there to help her daughter process the lesson,
Yep.
process the acknowledgement, process, the behavior and do
Yeah.
better in the future. Like I think when the
Yep.
parent is behind the child, the principal doesn't have to become the disciplinarian.
Yes.
They become more of the guide also, and then
Yeah.
we're guiding our children to take responsibility for what part was theirs. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not,
Yep.
and acknowledge, is that how you want to show up in the world? Actually, I would probably rather, it's usually a better scenario that they can come up with, that
Yep.
without giving up the way they felt in the
Yeah.
in the moment, right?
Well, and that's what she was having a hard time with, which is
Mm,
why I called the principal
mm,
because she didn't understand why she was getting this harsh punishment and the friend wasn't receiving any punishment either
gotcha.
because
Yeah.
in her mind, she wasn't listening to my words. I told
Mm,
her I needed space. I told her to leave my bubble, and
yeah.
they didn't listen. So, from what I'm taught, like what I'm teaching her, she's right. The friend was a part of it. They were
Yeah.
playing ping
For
pong with
sure.
each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I use that as a tool with her. Like in the real world, honey, like she did get a consequence. You hurt her. Like you physically hurt her. That was a consequence to her action. She refused to listen to your words and you lashed out by physically hurting her. And
Mm.
that's a very real world situation. If
But
you
the
don't leave
lesson
somebody
after,
alone, like,
but the lesson after, I loved what you said when you're like, you can't control her, but you can walk
right,
away. And
And
that's a
she, yeah,
totally different, because now we're not saying you're the reason I'm upset.
right.
If you stay in a situation where somebody's not going to honor your boundaries, you're the reason you're upset
Yes.
unless you take care of you,
Yeah.
right? And
Well,
that
and I'm
that
working
is
with,
a big lesson for kids.
and it is, and that's why I was
Adults
working with
too.
her. Well, that's what I had to teach myself. Like
Yeah,
everything I
right?
teach
It's like,
them, I had to teach myself
right. It
first.
was like, oh, you're not the reason I'm unhappy? Oh, it's
Yeah.
me. I'm sorry. I
Yep.
forgot to remove myself from your
Yep.
presence.
Oh, I'm angry because I chose it. Got it. Because we are. Like I attached
Yeah.
an expectation. I mean, heck, I do the same thing with all holidays now. I have no expectations anymore. It's truly this unconditional space of people show up how they want to, and I just accept that. And if there's something that I want or need, I give it to myself.
You're the first person I've ever heard of that says that, because I have had to learn. It was really hard because I was like, oh, I want to be in love with my husband and all these things. And he was not a big
Yeah.
fan of the calendar telling him when he had to tell me he loved me, or when
Yes.
he had to, provide birthday presents that I may or may not have liked.
Yep.
Like, and so I've like, oh, so if I want flowers, I can buy flowers. Like
Yeah.
if I want a box of chocolates, I can buy a box of chocolates. And it has nothing to do with his love for me, because
Yes.
we say, I love you every day. We share our
Mm-hmm.
love every day. Like it's how
Yep.
he's showing up in our everyday life that makes me realize that, well, the calendar is full of holidays for marketing purposes to sell
Yep.
more goods. It's not a condition, is that the right word? It's not a reflection
Yeah.
of the person's, of how you feel. So I'm the same as you. I'm
Yep.
unattached from the outcomes of a holiday, a birthday, what Christmas tradition is supposed to look like. Like, is it supposed to look like something?
Yeah.
Because maybe you got something better than what the calendar can dictate, that you only get one day out of the year, you get a Valentine.
Right.
Maybe your life is actually better than that, and you just forgot to notice because society says you need X, Y, and Z on this day of the year, and then
Right.
that's the only way you're loved.
Well, it's all really closely wrapped up in this outside validation that was,
Yep.
it was like the cog behind everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize
Mm-hmm.
is I was actually treating my husband in the same way that kind of wanted from my mom. So then when he would do
Yeah.
something, it wasn't just the emotion of how like I felt with him in the moment. I was feeling everything from my childhood of my mom not choosing me.
Yeah, because he wasn't your wound of origin. The
Exactly.
wound came from a different relationship that is mimicked in your current life. And that's, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And I will clarify a little bit just in case, my
yeah.
mama chooses to listen to this. Like we do our best with what
Yes.
we have.
Yes.
And
That is
she
not a judgment
is
on your mom.
no, because she is the
No,
exact mom that I needed in this lifetime. And I love
100%.
and appreciate everything she has done for me. And I
Yes.
also acknowledge that, like, I needed to be able to be my own safe space and
Yeah.
not look for that validation from my mom
Yeah.
and from other people. That was me needing her validation as a kid because that equaled safety, because my brain said
Right.
so.
Because that's
But
how children are with their caregivers. Yeah.
exactly, because that
Hmm.
is what it equals. Like they're the
There is a
reason I'm
dependency
alive
there.
right now. Like
Yes.
they have to choose me or I'm not
Yeah.
going to survive this life.
Correct. Yeah.
And I was doing that with my husband. And when I
Yeah.
really took it was almost like a radical 180 or
Hmm.
360, I don't know. I just turned it all around and was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I don't want anything from you. Right now, I need me.
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself the love that I need. If I want to be happy and I need something for that, like I took extreme accountability over my happiness, my choices, my life story, my life purpose,
Mm.
everything. And then I realized that I almost took it to the extreme and still was
Mm,
like, well, what are boundaries? Because like in the growth sphere, it says you need to have boundaries. And I'm like, well, he's not seeing me. He doesn't hold this space with me. And
yeah.
then I realized I was still looking for that outside validation because I don't need him to see and understand me. I need me to see and understand me. And if I can accept all of me, in
Yeah.
order to truly unconditionally love him, I need to accept him, shadows and all as well.
Woo! That is good. That is really,
Yeah,
really good. I love that. Accepting somebody, shadows and all, is, well, it's a lifelong process, right?
it is. Yep. And then choosing how do you move forward with one another and always
Yeah.
knowing that we have choice.
Mm,
So he used to get upset with me about it, but in the beginning, I would tell him, like, when we finally made the choice, I made the choice, like, I'm in this and I do want to
yeah.
work towards a future with you. I would always tell him, if you ever get to a point where I am not what you need in life, I need you to tell me because I accept that. And I'm
Mm,
not going to selfishly want you to stay here with me to fill some void for you to choose me so I feel loved when that hurts you. If your life and your energy takes you somewhere else, I accept that.
mm.
That to me is true unconditional love. You go where
Yes.
you need to go, and we
Mm.
can release each other in love.
Mm. Well, that is how my first marriage ended. I was like,
Exactly.
there's no need
Yeah,
to keep hurting one another. Like, I want
exactly.
you to find love and light. And, we had never fallen in love. We just managed a
Yeah.
family together,
Right.
and I was like, there's absolutely no reason not to set each other free.
Yep.
And we did so in light and love. Like, I took
See?
three
Oh,
months to make sure it wasn't me, because there couldn't have been blame. It wasn't for lack of trying. It wasn't for
right.
lack of seeking help. It wasn't for lack of reading good books and trying
Yeah.
to find how to be on the same page, and he was a good person. So I was like, so
Mm-hmm.
what is this, and sometimes you don't have the words for why it's not going to work. We had attachment style issues. I was
Right.
anxious when he was avoidant. And so,
Oh,
and
that's hard.
woo, yeah, it was like, come
That's
here,
a
come
hard
here, go
one.
away, go away, go away. It's like, wow, that's not working. but
Yeah.
but the release was in love. And
Yes.
we did share our love for one another, for having done our best, and for having raised the kids, and for even the release. I think I've processed differently than he has, and it's not like there wasn't any loss or grief there was a tremendous amount.
Yeah.
But still, the unconditional love was the most important part for me, because I didn't want to be angry with him, and I didn't want to blame him. I
Yeah.
didn't want him to be the reason that I was unhappy. I had to go get clear and acknowledge my part in all of it,
Yeah.
but also to set myself free, which
Yep.
I believe was even the best thing for him, because I was not good for him. I was hurting him,
Right.
with
Yep.
my angst. And so, anyway, long
I
story
love that.
short, the unconditional love is always the answer. In the
Yeah.
end, the undercurrent, if it's fed with unconditional love, it is going to turn out in a way that matches and aligns with your higher self every time.
Always. Yep.
Yeah.
It frees everybody. It
Mm-hmm.
allows people to live a life that is uniquely their own, a part of the whole, and getting to actually enjoy what it means to be. It's to love without expectations. There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
expectations. It's just
No
love in motion.
expectations. Yep. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Welcome.
Before we go, can you give us one tip, a practice that you use daily that helps you build confidence to go within and find your center and hear the guidance that is specific for you?
So right now, actually, I have a free gift that I would love to
Ooh.
offer your viewers. It's actually a 3-day unapologetic living practice. It is the practice that I use to just live my own unique life amongst the whole.
Uh-huh. That's exciting. Okay.
It just in real quick, it's basically awareness is the first step to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Getting curious about your life
Mm-hmm.
and just being aware of what emotions are coming up because that's showing you what you need to release.
Yep.
And then also awareness of what lights you the heck up in life because that's where you want to go.
Yeah.
And then the accountability of you always have choice. You are right where you're at because you chose it at some point along the way.
Never
And
limited.
that's not a shame. That's not a,
Mm-mm.
it's not that we want to choose to hurt, but we always have choice. And sometimes even giving up our choice is choosing.
Yeah.
So that extreme accountability of if I'm not happy where I'm at, and this is what these are showing me over here with my awareness and curiosity, what am I going to choose now? And getting in that present moment of, okay, this is what life's showing me. This is where I need to go because this is what feels right to my inner knowing. My body knows the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then acceptance is day 3. The acceptance of you're always right where you're meant to be, even when you screw up. Because that's all a part of our greatest message.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. That's what a gift. And how can people get hold of this document?
So it's not a document. It's a 3-part video series.
Perfect.
It is.
Even better.
It'll be inboxed into their emails through Kajabi, but I made it specifically for your viewers, and then I'm going to use it to share with the world because it's a big message for me, and it's a way that I feel like I can serve.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to give that to you to be able to put for your viewers.
In the show notes. Yes.
Yep, in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll add that. And so how else can other people find you?
I'm also on Instagram at Sarah MF Grady.
Okay.
And then pretty much everything is on there, I think. Like I have a Calendly link, I've got all the things, but pretty much my Instagram is where it's all going to be. I have Facebook, but I figured out I don't vibe with that energy as much.
Me neither.
Instagram's where it's at. So they can find me there, and I just look forward to serving whoever needs it. I know we're right where we're meant to be, and we're all just dancing in life together. So
yes. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being here on Guiding You Home and helping us find new ways that we can build confidence to go within.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I just adore you. So
thank you. Thanks for listening. I invite you to leave your feedback and share your aha moments as you listen to this podcast. Also, you can access more information or any of the programs, courses, or worksheets that I've mentioned on these episodes on my website at teresaford.life. Or what I would really love is for you to connect with me on Instagram at teresaford.coaching and on Facebook at Coaching with Teresa Ford, so I can give you more interesting insights and further coaching to help you fulfill the measure of your creation.